Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard. My name is Dinkar and I welcome each and every one of you in this session. I hope everybody is doing great, feeling healthy and fine. So once again, welcome to the morning session of the top news coverages. And again, today we'll be discussing one of the most important topic under the RBI Grade B 2023 exam, that is the Global Land Outlook report. Okay, global land outlook report that we are going to discuss today, and this is also one of the most important topic if we go and see the climate change, because land is also one of the most precious resources. So optimum utilization of this scarce resources has to be done in a proper way. So that is why this global outlook land outlook report has been published, and today we'll be discussing the various important aspects related to this report and who published this report, what all exactly is published in this report, that we are all going to discuss in this session. Okay, so once again, welcome to the session, and if possible, if you can like the session, because let us know regarding your presence in the session, so you can just like the session to register your presence in the session. Okay, so thank you so much for joining the session. So let's start with our class. So this is RBI Grade B 2023 top news coverages, and today we'll be discussing regarding the Global Land Outlook report. Global Land Outlook report. So Global Land Outlook report, this is the second edition. This is the second edition of this report that has been published, and the report have clearly mentioned a few things over here, and the important thing that has been mentioned under this report is that our humans have already breached 4 out of 9 planetary boundaries. Okay, so 9 boundaries they have given, 9 boundaries they have given, like 9 things which we have to take in control, but out of that 4 have already been breached and 5 are under the border area which can be easily breached. So that is why this report has been published, in order to check what all things have been breached. So land resources, if we go by like that, soil, water, biodiversity, these are all the foundations, these are all the foundations of the wealth of our society. Land is only helping us to find out our food needs. Land is only helping out to find our fuel needs, water needs, raw material needs, livelihood, everything. If land is not there, we cannot live, we cannot survive anywhere. Okay, but the way we are utilizing the land, the way we are disturbing the land, the way we are just simply not taking care of the land, or whatever it is, it has threatened the health of the ecosystem. It has threatened the life of the species on the earth, including our own. Because if we are not taking the basic foundation of not if we are not even taking care of the basic foundation of our uh, whole earth system, then our human mankind is on the verge of collapse. Okay, so 9 planetary boundaries were there. So what is these planetary boundaries are there? So our planet has been made from various things. Okay, that means boundaries are something which are called as safe operating point. सेफ ऑपरेटिंग पॉइंट मतलब इसके अगेंस्ट, इसके बाद चले गए तो डिजास्टर, अगर इससे पहले बने रहे तो इट विल बी अ सस्टेनेबल वे. So there are the boundaries that we have set up. पानी का boundary, air का boundary, soil का boundary, है ना? We have set up all these things. So we have kept up a safe operating space for each and everything. Out of that, 4 have already been breached. What is that? Out of climate change is one of that. Biodiversity loss is one of that. Land use change is one of that, and geochemical cycle is one of that. And we have already seen that after all these changes, we are seeing a lot of changes in the earth. Geochemical cycle, biodiversity loss are happening, climate change are happening, and you can see from your visible eyes. Okay, and the reasoning that they have given is that these breach are directly linked to the human induced desertification, human induced land degradation, and droughts. Okay, and the report have also said that, global outlook report, that if we are not able to control that, if the trend keeps on persisting and if we are not able to control that, so the risk will be more widespread, the risk will be more spreading like a wildfire, and we will be coming into a place where we cannot do the change reversible. The things will not be reversible, it will be total disaster in the future. That is what the report have said. They have said that roughly $44 trillion of the economic output, that is more than half the global annual GDP. Actually, what we call it as around $90 trillion is the global GDP. So out of that, half of that, but it's just a little bit lesser than that, $44 trillion, we directly take it from the natural capital. Nature se we take. How? We take it in the form of environmental assets, rivers hai, air hai, ecosystem services, ecosystem, biodiversity, natural resources. From all these places, we derive 40% of our economic output of the world. Okay? And yet the government rarely account for all these things. Government thinks that these are free resources, we can utilize the way we want it. Okay, so they rarely value these things, they rarely find out the true value of these things. Okay, like climate is there, water regulation is there, diseases are there, pest control is there, water decomposition is there, air purification is there, recreation are there. Have you ever paid for all these things? Nobody has paid for these things, but because of these things, we are at least, they are generating around $44 trillion of the economic output. So, as per the report, humans have already transformed more than 70% of the Earth's land area. 70% have been already transformed by the humans, because now they are not being find out into their natural state. They are being find out into the totally different state which the humans have transformed. Okay, and because of that, there was an unparalleled environmental degradation is happening, and because of that, scope of global warming is also increasing. If you go to the various other places like rural communities, small household farmers are there, women are there, youths are there, indigenous people are there, these are at the maximum risk. These are at the maximum risk area. Okay, because these are the people who are being very hard hit by the desertification, land degradation and droughts. Okay, and the thing which has happened in 2020, it has created a totally different landscape throughout the world. COVID-19 pandemic has created a totally different way. The business society, the decision maker, how to find out the link between the environment and human health. Because if the environment is not working properly, what kind of development you can do, you will not be able to survive, because anytime environment can come hitting on you. Okay, so first of all, we have to find out the exact link between the environment and human health, that we can see this is the link between environment and health. Now, global land outlook report, it is a flagship publication of UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Okay, so the first edition of this report was launched in 2017. Okay, at Conference of Party 13 in China, COP13 summit that has happened in China. So the first edition of the report has been released over there. Okay, what is the main argument, what is the main focus area of this report, कि ये report करना क्या चाह रही है? इस report में ये बताना चाहते हैं कि आपका land system की challenges क्या हैं, what all has happened to the land. ओके कौन सी पॉलिसीज आप लेके आए हो जिससे लैंड में चेंजेस हो रहा है, और क्या पाथवे है, क्या आगे जाके आप क्या चीज चेंजेस कर सकते हो कि आपका लैंड डेजर्टिफिकेशन से बच जाए. Okay, so that we can utilize the land in a sustainable way and water management can be taken place in a proper way. Okay, so this UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, okay, was established in 1994 and it is a legally binding convention. It is a legally binding convention regarding the management and the development of the land. Okay, to combat desertification, desertification को combat करना है और droughts के ill effect को कम करना है. Okay, now under this convention there is a 2018-2030 strategic framework has been launched. The focus area of this whole framework is to attain the land degradation neutrality. Okay, land degradation neutrality means like whatever the land has been disturbed, it is okay, but now we don't want to disturb the other land. We wanted to have a sustainable relationship between the land. Okay, so we wanted to first of all restore the productivity. At the same time, we wanted to enhance the livelihood of the people and mitigate anything which may lead to the droughts and which may hurt the vulnerable population. We know Rio Convention. Rio Convention has happened. Okay, Rio Convention 1 has happened in 1992 and then happened in 2012, right? So under that, three important conventions were there. One is UNFCCC, United Nations for Framework Convention on Climate Change. Under that we have COP summits are happening. Sharm el Sheikh recently has happened. Okay, then Convention on Biological Diversity, United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, and the third one is United Nations Convention on Combat Desertification. So this is the three convention, three Rio Convention are there which are working in the field of climate change, saving of the biodiversity and combat the desertification. Now the 15th session of the UNCCD ये हुआ था आपका अबेजान कोटे दी आइवरी अफ्रीका में. Okay, so that has happened on 20th of May 2022. So they have taken the theme as land, life and legacy, and from scarcity to prosperity. That is a COP15 theme for the UNCCD. Okay, so because we are focusing on the land, because land is only the lifeline of our planet, and we wanted to make sure that we have to utilize the land in a more better, in a more sustainable way, and we wanted to reduce the pressure on the land so that the sustainable development, like present generation can also take the benefit and the future generation can also take the benefit of it. Now what is desertification? Whenever we talk of the desertification means we have to reducing the losses of the biological and economic production of the dry land. We have to make sure that whenever we talk of the desertification, that means we cannot use that land. The land has been reduced and the loss has happened, loss of the biological diversity has happened, loss of the economic productivity has happened, and the land has become dry land. So that is called desertification. Various reasons are there. Obviously most of the reasons you are familiar with, like loss of soil cover, top layer of the soil cover is moved, vegetation degradation, because of that soil erosion happens and again land becomes totally infertile, water erosion, wind erosion, climate change. These are the major reasons for land degradation. If we convert them into the various heads, like desertification in the form of human factor or climate change. So human factor, high population, poor and poverty things are there, overgrazing, deforestation, overcropping, and sometimes we have a improved irrigation, lot of irrigation we do, and because of that fertility of soil is reduced and salination of the soil and global warming and less rain. Now, what are the efforts that has been taken throughout the world? So UNCCD has done their declaration of the Delhi that has happened in 14th COP summit. Okay, so जो डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ दिल्ली है, जो 14th कॉप समिट थी, 14th कॉप समिट वो दिल्ली में हुई थी. Okay, so there they have discussed regarding the what we can do with the land, how we can be sensitizing the people regarding the saving of the land, properly utilization of the land, sustainable development of the land. Okay, so that is the declaration of Delhi that we have signed. Then ecosystem restorance decade, ecosystem restoration decade that we are following United Nations Environment Program and FAO that has been going since 2021 and 2030. Then G20 Global Initiative Improvement Terrestrial Habitat Conservation of Land Degradation. These are the efforts that are going on in order to improve the land resources. Then Bond Challenge. Bond Challenge means we wanted to bring around 150 million hectare of the deforested land of the world. Okay, and we wanted to restore by 330 million hectare we have to bring into the restoration activity. Then this is very important, Great Green Wall. You know अफ्रीका सहारा डेजर्ट, अफ्रीका का सहारा डेजर्ट है, वो स्प्रेड हो रहा है, वो स्प्रेड हो रहा है. अब ये देखिए सहारा डेजर्ट यहाँ पर है, अगर उसमें उसको रोका नहीं गया तो वो नीचे की तरफ भी बढ़ जाएगा. तो वी आर मेकिंग अ ग्रेट ग्रीन वॉल like this, crossing the African continent from east to west. Okay, around 11 countries it is going to cross, and we wanted to create a great green wall in order to make sure that the Sahara desert should not get spread to the other areas. Okay, so we wanted to plant the native species, native plant, in order to prevent the Sahara desert to extend. Okay, so these are the important initiative that we are taking. So we have discussed like the planet has crossed 4 planetary boundaries. Okay, 4 planetary boundaries have already been crossed. So total 9 categories are there: biodiversity loss, land use changes, climate change, nitrogen phosphorus geochemical cycles, freshwater usage, ocean acidification, chemical pollution, atmospheric loading, and ozone depletion. Out of that, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they have already crossed the boundaries. मीन्स इनका लॉस है जो अनप्रेसिडेंटेड है, बहुत कस के लॉस हो रहा है. ओके, they have been already went into the loss, and rest the 5, they are on the border area, and if we are not able to control these 5, they will also move into the, they will also move outside the planetary boundaries. Okay, so climate change, like CO2 concentration kitna hai, already crossed. Okay, then land uses, size of the forest area decreasing. Okay, biological chemical flow, outflow of nitrogen and phosphorus is already out of control. Okay, so these are the important things that you have to keep in mind. Now this is the safe operating point of the 9 geochemical cycle, and if you are crossing that, you are outside that boundary. So what is called in the red color, अगर आप red color में देखें तो nitrogen phosphorus cycle, climate change, land use changes, and biodiversity loss have already crossed this line. Rest all are under the boundaries, but these 4 have crossed the boundaries. Now comes the, we have to make sure that we should make sure that the land should be at the focus, because there is an operative link between the biodiversity loss and climate change. So land has to be kept in the focus main area, कि अगर land को, अगर हमने land बचा लिया तो हमने बाकी सब चीजें बचा ली. Okay, so we have to make sure that we have to restore by slowing of the global warming, We have to reduce the risk, we have to reduce the scale, we have to reduce the frequency and intensity of the disaster by only helping and focusing on the land. Okay, restoration has to be done at the right place, at the right scale, with the proper connected people. Okay, if this is what the diagram is we wanted to discuss, this is like a flow chart, right? If biodiversity loss is happening, regulation services are hurting, loss of flora and fauna, and land degradation. If climate change is happening, drought and flood and wildlife, decreased carbon storage, decreased carbon capture and storage, and again land degradation are happening. So this is how the things have been linked up. Okay. Now how we can transform the food system? Okay, because modern agriculture have already altered the face of the planet. We are doing a lot of machines, everything machines work in everything, consumer, producer, everybody is working, and everybody have changed that traditional system into the more and more advanced agriculture system. So we have to do the restoration agriculture. We have to make sure that we do the agriculture in a sustainable way. It is not like that machines are there, fertilizer are there, you can utilize at any level. No, because only the food system itself is responsible for 80% deforestation, क्योंकि land को clear किया जाता है crops के लिए, right? 70% of the fresh water is utilized in the fields, and because of that only these are the greatest cause of the biodiversity losses. Lot of monoculture, इंटेंसिव मोनोकल्चर, अब उगा रहे हैं तो राइस ही राइस उगा रहे हैं, कहीं पे केवल वीट ही हो रहा है, ठीक है, मोनोकल्चर क्रॉपिंग, सिंगल क्रॉपिंग. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द बायोडाइवर्सिटी गेट hurted. Okay, now nitrous oxide and fertilizer from the fertilizers and the methane emitted from the livestocks, they are the most potent resources and they account for the maximum greenhouse gas emission into the world climate system. So this is what the synergy that you wanted to have, like human and social values, cultural and food tradition, you can have a co-creation altogether, and based that we can save the biodiversity, we can have a synergy between all these things. All things should work in a responsible way with all together, एक साथ मिलके. Okay, we should have responsive governance, we should have a circular economy, resilience and efficiencies, and then we will have a synergies between the world. Okay, now we have to put the people into the front, क्योंकि people को बताना पड़ेगा you are a part of this whole program, you are only going to hit or you are only going to benefit by all these activities. Okay, so like our small farmers are there, small scale farmers are there, indigenous farmers are there, local peoples are there. So we have to make sure that we have to motivate these people, entrepreneur, women, that this will help you for the ecosystem services, this will help in boosting your income, it will help you in securing your food and water supplies, but you have to work in restoration of the land. We have to take the concept of bottom up stakeholder engagement. ये नहीं top से bottom तक आपको order आ रहे, नहीं, बॉटम से नीचे तक आपके ऑर्डर जाने चाहिए, आपको नीचे से पूछना चाहिए कि आपको लैंड सिस्टम के लिए क्या करना है. मोर इंक्लूसिव एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबल गवर्नेंस वी हैव टू कीप, राइट? So we have to make sure that human capitals, social capitals and financial capital all have to work together, and then we are able to save the land based natural capital, whether it is soil, whether it is water, whether it is biodiversity, we will be able to. अब ह्यूमन कैपिटल में आपको हेल्थ देखना है, लोगों की न्यूट्रिशन देखना है, एजुकेशन देखना है, ठीक है. सोशल कैपिटल में यू कैन टेक द हेल्प ऑफ सिविल सोसाइटीज, गवर्नमेंट, एनजीओ, बिजनेसमैन. ओके, फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल में जो फाइनेंशियल इंसेंटिव्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं, जैसे स्टेक होल्डर्स, रिटर्न, then various type of startups and everything are there. So if we are able to work that, we will able to save the soil, water and biodiversity, and we have to safeguard the land rights. अब क्या होता है, land rights में बहुत issues होते हैं, so we have to also save that. Human right based approach we have to take over here. Okay, improving the natural resources by various international treaties. We have to invite the various parties to combat desertification, degradation, and droughts. And UN Human Rights Council is there. We have to make sure that this Human Rights Council should work and properly resolution plan, proper adaptation of the plan, a proper application of the plan should work. We have to call upon the states to conserve and protect and restore the healthy ecosystem of the world. Okay, इसमें आपको करना है लैंड गवर्नेंस, टेन्योर सिक्योरिटी एंड लैंड रिस्टोरेशन. टेन्योर सिक्योरिटी में ये रहता है कि यू कैन नॉट सिंपली थ्रो एनीबडी आउट ऑफ देयर लैंड. ओके, people should have access to their land, people should have a good holding of their land, people should have a ownership of the land properly. Because of that only people will be behaving responsibly towards their lands. Okay, like that. Now redirecting the investment and incentives. So we should have a regenerative land management system. ऐसा नहीं कि लैंड खराब हो गया तो उसको छोड़ दिया, नहीं, उसको रीजनरेट करना. We have to make sure that long term society goals are being met. Okay, like food ही नहीं, fuels, raw material, clean and blue infrastructure. We have to make sure that that type of infrastructure we should make, which is very very important to mitigate the various things. That is mitigating the drought, that is mitigating the flood, that is improving the renewable energy transition in your area. Okay, so we have to make sure that public and private finances should be utilized at a large scale. Okay, so that multi-sectoral restoration can happen and all the places, all the areas where the land degradation has happened can be taken care. Okay, working together, we have to work all together at all levels. Okay, so United Nation is a very big organization. Okay, United Nation can bring everybody together because United Nation is having the convention power. United Nation can declare that every country has to do that, so every country has to do that. Okay, so with the help of the United Nation we can achieve the land degradation neutrality. What does that mean? That land degradation neutrality is just a very very simple idea of securing enough healthy and productive resources by avoiding any further land degradation wherever possible and restore the land wherever possible. So that is called land degradation neutrality. You have to achieve by 2030. Okay, so we have this UNCCD, we have UNFCCC, and we have CBD. They are all working together for conservation because these are all the important convention of the Rio Convention. Okay, UNCCD for desertification, for climate change and biodiversity. Okay, so land restoration, food, water and climate, infrastructure, livelihood and the governance. With that, with the food we can do the regenerative agriculture, with water we can do conservative management, for the climate we can just check emission sequestration. For infrastructure we can make green and blue spaces, for livelihood we can train the entrepreneurs, and for the governance we can participate in the benefit of the sharing. So in this way we will be able to recover our land, we will be having enough food, we will be preventing the droughts, we will be also mitigating the various things, we have a good food and transport system, we will be getting the socio-economic benefits all together. Okay, if we are able to do that. So these are the areas where the things has to be worked in the form of rights, in the form of rewards, in the form of responsibility. In the area like cities में आपको क्या करना है, रूरल अर्बन इंटरफेस में क्या करना है, रूरल एरियाज में क्या करना है, नेचुरल इकोसिस्टम के साथ क्या करना है, आपके एक्शंस क्या होंगे, एंड व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी योर बेनिफिट्स आउट ऑफ दैट. Okay, I'm not going to read each and every one of this slide. It is just like that. If you wanted to make some descriptive answer on that, you can make it. ये सब descriptive answers के लिए points होते हैं. Okay, ये सारे के सारे descriptive answers के लिए points होते हैं. आप सबको इस बारे में पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है? Now India is also making lot of effort in this field, like National Action Program for Combat Desertification 2001 में आया था, प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना, नेशनल एफॉरेस्टेशन प्रोग्राम, नेशनल मिशन फॉर ग्रीन इंडिया, मनरेगा, soil conservation in the river valley project, watershed development. These are all the areas under which government of India is working in order to prevent the land degradation. So this is what the COP14 summit is, where when it was happened in India. So 29.3 through 32% of the India's total geographical area is affected by the land degradation. That means one third of India's whole area is affected by the land degradation. And the main objective of this is to prevent the desertification and to mitigate the effect. And India has given the commitment that by 2030, India will be land degraded neutral. India will be achieving land degradation neutral world. Okay. So this is all for today. I hope everybody has enjoyed the session. मुकेश पटेल सर पेड कोर्स में एक्सप्लेन हिंदी में भी कीजिए प्लीज. I try to do, but actually lot of people are there who belongs to some other places of India which do not understand the Hindi there. So that is why I have to keep the session maximally in the English. But since you have told, I will be trying to put some of the words in Hindi for better understanding. Okay. So we have a Telegram channel. Once the session gets over, जब इस सेशन ओवर हो जाएगा तो आपको लिंक में इसका पीडीएफ मिल जाएगा. Okay, in the link you will get the PDF of that. Okay, so please join our regulatory Telegram app. Okay, and also please check regulatory course. Yesterday the notification has already been released. Please make sure that you join the various courses for to take the maximum benefit and to get succeed in your first attempt. Always remember, where there is a will, there is always a way. So thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Have a good day.